You are now tuned into the People Before Politics radio show, brought to you by the good folks at
Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Check the newspaper. Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Check the newspaper.
Real talk for the community since 2014.
Hi, Dr. Collins.
Hello.
I have no idea where AJ went.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am wonderful, wonderful.
We're waiting for AJ. He was I don't know what happened. I guess he pressed the wrong button. It happens all the time.
All the time.
Yeah. He's getting there, though. He's getting there. He gets better. Well,
that's technology, technology. I could be in the middle of a staff meeting and I'll pop right out. I can be in the middle of a student meeting and I'll pop right out. That's technology. But I'm glad we have it.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. AJ, are you there?
Hold on. There we go. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. That's some of the situation with doing the show live like this as opposed to doing it in the studio, which I miss a lot. You got to deal with Wi-Fi and all these other issues, but I got you on here. Thank you for coming on. The second part of our show, episode 287. As I was saying, I don't know if you heard me say with my brother Ken Bright, Black History, we usually celebrate people who have passed and their achievements, and we don't celebrate the living and their achievements. And with you and my brother Ken Bright, I wanted to celebrate y'all, as my mother said, give you all your flowers while you're alive so you can smell it. So I wanted to have you on to talk about all the great work that you are doing, starting with the renaming of the Thornton High School to the Denzel Washington School of Arts, which is really huge. Let's start there.
Thank you. Good evening, AJ. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. So we really renamed the Performing and the Visual Arts Magnet School the Denzel Washington School of the Arts. So Nellie A. Thornton is still the name of the building and name of the campus. The program that was launched in 2015 was renamed. I just want to put that out there. And so the school was formed in 2015, and it started with 6th and 7th graders. And each year it added a grade until this year it has a full school grades 6 through 12, 450 students. And so these are the students who are born and raised in Mount Vernon, or some families have moved back to Mount Vernon to be a part of our school. But these are children who know within their heart and soul that they're interested in the performing and or visual arts. So these are the actors, these are the dancers, the musicians, the visual artists. And so we have them all. So now we have 450 kids, very talented, love their school, love their art form, and are missing the school because we're now in the pandemic.
I just want to say, well, two things. One, you brought the young kids that do the Lion King Junior, I guess it was, up to the radio show.
We did.
And when we stream, if you play too much of a copyrighted material, Facebook will cut the stream. These kids were singing a cappella, and they were
Oh, I
singing it so
remember.
well. They were singing it so well that Facebook identified it as a copyright infringement, like I was playing the original song, and cut the stream. That's how good
Really?
the kids were. Like that was amazing. I was like, whoa, like, And then I finally got to actually to go to one of the plays, Ma Rainey. That was so well done. I was so impressed with these kids and the work that you were doing. I'm sorry I missed the other ones. That was so well done. It wasn't that I didn't have high expectations. I didn't know what to expect, but it exceeded any of my expectations. It was professionally done. Like this could have been on off Broadway somewhere. Like this was great. And people need to when we get past this COVID thing and y'all can start having plays again. Them plays need to be packed because these plays are incredible.
We have a good following. People do come out. We started out with Your Good Man, Charlie Brown. That was the very first show I directed. And that's when the kids were only in the 6th and 7th grade. And I saw in the work that I did with those 6th and 7th graders that we had something very special. And so I treated them like because I'm a professional theater director. So I treated them like they were professionals in the theater. And they rose to the occasion. They were able to learn their lines, learn their choreography, their blocking. They had a professional mentality. They came to work on time, and they were prepared to produce a show. And we got standing ovations every night. And then from that show, we did Suzico the Musical, which was another outstanding, right? We did that. And then from that, we went to Lion King Jr., and then we did The Color Purple. And then we did Erase It. We've done so many shows. Lion King, Color Purple, The Wiz is the last show we did in 2019. So we were preparing to do an encore production of The Lion King when the pandemic hit. So we had already had auditions. Some of the original cast members were coming back. We added more kids to it. We had about 75 kids in the cast. It was going to blow everybody's mind. We had the vocal music majors were singing in the pit. We had students who were playing right alongside professional musicians, playing the score. Our costume director is a former Broadway costume director. That's why when you see our shows, they're polished and they're professional. My set designer did sets for Spike Lee for films. So that's part of the secret. That's part of the magic, AJ. Most of the people that I'm working with are professionals in the entertainment industry. Or they were, and now they're teachers.
Now, let me back up a little bit. I did introduce you, but I didn't fully introduce you. You are the principal at the Denzel Washington School of the Arts, right? And
I am that.
And we so a couple of years ago, I guess in the last couple of years, they had a restructuring of the high school and made the Thornton Building campus a whole performing arts high school. Is that correct? Could you explain that?
So we were the Performing and Visual Arts Magnet School. So we started out, we were over at Benjamin Turner Middle School for 1 year, and then we moved over to Mount Vernon High School for 2 years. We were there, Performing and Visual Arts Magnet School. And then finally, we moved into the Thornton Building. But when we moved into the Thornton Building, there were 2 classes still there left from Thornton High School. We're a secondary school. So we're grades 6 through 12. We're not just a high school. We're 6 through 12. So when we came in, we coexisted with the last 2 graduating classes. And then we became the Denzel Washington School of the Arts on the Nellie A. Thornton campus. So we kept Nellie's name, but we also renamed our program the Denzel Washington School for the Arts.
So what was the inspiration of renaming it after Denzel? And how did he feel when he got the phone call that you wanted to name the school after him?
He was ecstatic. The impetus for that was that everything that Denzel represents, that's what I wanted my students to emulate. And so when I look at his work, and plus he's from Mount Vernon, he went to the school, he was in Thornton when it was Washington Middle School. He was a student, he performed on the stage. And so his words were, it was Washington then, and it'll be Washington again. So,
Washington, right.
Right, so it was Washington. And Felicia Rashad is the one who made that connection for me. So Felicia Rashad called Denzel because everyone said they knew Denzel and could hook me up so that I could get the proposal to him. But that was a 3-year journey. It took 3 years to finally get that connection. And so I just happened to say to Felicia, I'm trying to get in touch with Denzel because I want to propose to the Mount Vernon City School District that we rename our school, the PVAM. And she said, okay, Evelyn. And she called him up. And then she called me up and she said, Evelyn, I spoke to Denzel. He said yes. He asked me to give you his phone number so you can give him a call and talk about the school. And I was frozen for a moment because it was just that simple. Because she has a relationship with him and she was able to tell him all about our school. She's another partner in our school. And I renamed our auditorium after Felicia. So
right, I remember.
Right. So the auditorium is now the Felicia Rashad Auditorium. And so she's been such a wonderful assistant to me and to our school and to the district in general. But she made that phone call. So after I got my census together, I called Denzel and he was in the middle of doing a table read for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. And so that just aired on Netflix, and it's still airing now. But he was in the middle of that, but he was honored. And so that's the story. He was honored. And he was scheduled to come to our school to meet with the students, and then the pandemic hit.
Right.
Pandemic just took everybody out of, any plans you had. Those plans were washed away.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Are you? Is the school open, or are you doing anything via virtual?
We're remote. Yes, we're remote. So some
Yeah.
of our students are remote, and some of our students are in person. So we have some of the kids come to school, and some of the kids participate through Zoom on their computers. So we're doing both.
That must be hard for the performing arts type parts.
That's what
of
I'm
things,
thinking.
because
Yeah.
that's not something you can do with everybody being somewhere separate. Like that must be, huh?
It's extremely hard, but I have very creative, talented teachers. Let me tell you, the teachers, this is what people don't know. Our teachers, not just my teachers, but teachers throughout the country were told that they now had to go and teach via Zoom. Now, they've never taught via Zoom. That's like having a classroom like we are right now, but I'm the teacher and I'm working with you guys and everything is on the computer. They were never trained to do that. All of the work is now on Schoology. Now you have to accept the work through, you put videos, teachers are there. It's hard. Then they switched it and they said, well, not only will you teach via Zoom, now you're going to have kids in the classroom. So now you have to direct your lessons to the computer plus the kids who are live in the classroom. So that was part of the complex issue. But, like teachers being resilient, they rose to the occasion and they handled it. It's not the best way to do school, but if we didn't have this technology, I don't know what we would be doing.
So, and I just want to say, for all of those who have always said, yo, teachers get paid, when teachers are talking about raises and thinking the teachers make too much, whatever they pay the teachers, it can't be enough. And everybody who has kids now understands now that their kids are home. How much the teachers actually do.
And I don't think teachers are paid enough, AJ. I don't think teachers are paid enough for the work they do. And I always say this, I think educators should be on the same line as medical doctors because we're both impacting and changing lives. They're required to have sometimes the same education as a doctor. I don't think teachers are as respected as they should be. Not only are they edifying with their subject matter, but they're also helping families. They're raising their kids with them. And I think families are recognizing now how critical teachers are because that whole child care piece, look at that came into play, because parents were able to send their kids to school and knew they were safe. Now, what do they have in this pandemic? They still have to go to work, but some of them have little ones. And how are they expected to learn, on the computer, right? So I think teachers are a godsend. And it was amazing to me when they put teachers as, first responders, right? On the same line as a first responder. wanting to make sure that they were vaccinated, wanting to make sure all of this. And teachers are looking and saying, wow, I just went into education because I love children and I love edifying them, but now I'm a first responder. It kind of changed the playing field a little bit.
One of our readers, John Morrison, he has a show called Brother to Brother. He said we need more schools like this. I played the trumpet, and more importantly, I learned how to read music in elementary school. Back in the days, Graham School in Mount Vernon.
Excellent.
He said we need more schools like yours. Yeah. My hat's off to all the teachers and administrators for all that y'all are doing, and being able to navigate through all of this is absolutely crazy. But I've talked to you several times on the phone. Your passion into what you're doing, and making the school become a reality, and working with these children. I don't know if that's coming out in this interview, but you're so passionate about it, and I love that about you. And we need people that are passionate about when it comes to our children. We have some people that are there for a check, and that's it, but you're definitely one of those, and you don't want to just build that school, you want to help build the community around the school. I mean, I heard some of your ideas, and I'm just, I had to have you on.
Thank you.
I have a question, AJ. Dr. Collins, when for your performing arts school, when the kids graduate, where do they go on to theater, or the majority of them want to be actors? I mean, because I would assume the fact that they're so close to Broadway, and they're into the theater, that it must be really fascinating and maybe easier opportunities for them, no?
Most definitely. The premise of the school is we guide them through their training, and their journey in education is through the arts. Some of them will graduate, go off to college, continue studying the arts because that's what they want to do professionally. Mm-hmm. Some will go into college and become doctors and lawyers and teachers and principals and business people. So just because you're in an art school doesn't mean I would love for them to do it, especially the ones who are extremely talented. We have some kids who probably could, once they graduate, could go on Broadway, we already have kids who have been on Broadway. We have kids who had Netflix series. We have children who are in the Westchester Symphony Orchestra. We have kids who study at Concordia. We have students who are dancing with the Dance Theater of Harlem. We have kids who are at the Harlem School of the Arts. We have some very, very, very talented kids. We have kids who have had their artwork displayed and on display at art galleries around the city.
That's beautiful.
Our kids are doing their thing. And we have kids my seniors, this is my first group of seniors, and some of them have already received their college acceptance letters, and they already have 4-year rides to college. Everything paid for. They're not only artistically inclined, they're also academically inclined. 2/3 of our school was on the honor roll just this past marking period. So people have this assumption that creative kids are not bright kids, but academic excellence and artistic excellence go hand in hand. So we have some phenomenal kids.
Yeah. My son went to Museum Middle High School here, and I mean, academically straighter kid, real smart kid. But they taught him, I guess, when videos were coming out, how to do video. When there was like videotaping shows in the school, in the auditorium, he started. He would do the lighting, and he started at museum, and now he's a set director for that show Pose from Netflix. He's a set director. He makes sure that every cup is in every scene, and he started out at museums just adjusting the lights for videos.
And we just started a technical theater major. I didn't say that. I just started.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
Learning lighting. They learn stage management. They learn set design, set construction.
That's what he did.
And so we have a relationship with Purchase College. So many of those kids who are interested in the technical aspect, meaning they don't want to be in the spotlight, they can now go off to college and study technical theater on the college level and then work in the professional industry.
Wow. They can come here to Lionsgate. We're building a big,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think this is incredible. One of the things that I've spoke on, me and Damon, my partner Damon couldn't be here today. One of the things we talk about is, all of our children are not necessarily college bound, or that's not in their plan. You need to teach kids trades, and you're teaching them real life skills that they can actually use to make a living off of. You know, if they don't, like she said, her son, he learned at the school, and now he's doing what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? All our kids are not going to college, and they're not all going to be doctors or lawyers. And cities like Mount Vernon have so much creativity, and especially in our youth, you're tapping into that. I talked to Congressman Jamal Bowman about that. I definitely said I wanted to get the two of y'all together because he wants to do something with supporting more of the arts. And he said if we sow into them young people, what they go on to do, could help vitalize the economy in Mount Vernon alone, just off, the doing stuff like this. So I definitely just want to applaud you. When I think of when I think of these kind of schools, of course, my only frame of reference is Fame, the
Oh
television.
my God, I was gonna say that. Do they go around the hallways and do they dance and sing?
They sure do.
Oh,
They sure do.
With the connection of Felicia and being Debbie's sister, you know what I'm saying? That's the first thing that came to my mind. So
that was the impetus. That was the impetus for the school. I grew up watching Fame like everyone else, but living in Detroit, Michigan, I couldn't go to the high school performing arts because it wasn't there. It was in New York City. So I thought, well, when I get older, I'm going to create a school for creative kids like myself who would love to be in an art-based school like Fame. And so coming to Mount Vernon and having the opportunity to create this school was a dream come true. So it's exactly that. That was exactly the inspiration for it, along with the Duke Ellington School of the Arts in DC.
That's beautiful. And since we brought her, so being that that's her sister, that's Felicia's sister, any chance to get Debbie to come through?
We're hopeful because we have such a strong, AJ, we have a beautiful dance program. We have a middle school dance program and a high school dance program where those kids are phenomenal. We have some kids, like I said, who are dancing with the Dance Theater of Harlem or at Harlem School of the Arts who are ready right now to go and dance. And so I've spoken to Felicia about this, having Debbie. Debbie's busy. She's all over the place directing. Right. So I imagine when she slows down a little bit, we'll be able to bring her in because I want her to see our dancers. Plus, we have a tap dance program that's taught by Domisha. Domisha was on Broadway, was one of the youngest tap dancers on Broadway. Tap with Savion, Omar Edwards, Black and Blue. All of that stuff. That's what I'm saying. The people who are teaching our kids are professionals. They live it, they sleep it, they drink it, they eat it, they know it. And that's why our kids are so accelerated.
One of our listeners, one second, Lorraine. One of our listeners, Crystal Harris Ballard, I hope I pronounced that right. She said Dr. Collins has brought life back into our district through the arts.
Cool.
And I agree. I agree with that.
She also said that the children, yes, they do sing and dance. She said, especially in the cafeteria. That's it's so cool.
I love my job. I love my job. I most
awesome. You know that Broadway? What was his name? Zegfield.
Yes. Back in the 20s. That's a long time ago.
And he was married to Glenda the Good Witch from The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Do you know this is their house?
Really?
Yeah. You want to see my ceilings? They're high, beautiful.
Yonkers.
Yeah.
Yonkers?
Yeah. Big old house I live in. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
They lived here. It was easier for them to travel to Broadway from Yonkers here. And this house is magnificent. It's huge.
Very nice.
Yeah. So I got a little bit of history. So now I'm connected to you, Dr. Collins.
Excellent.
Yeah, I just had to. I learned something new in every interview. I never knew that. Like I never heard that story, but I've told you several times about wanting to create, the school, like, because the school was in New York and you wanted to create one in Mount Vernon. I
Well,
love that.
originally, AJ, I wanted to create it in Harlem. So
Okay,
originally, I was a principal in New York City. So I took a year, I left the New York City public schools to open a charter school in the arts. So I was creating the foundation for it would have been the first performing arts charter school in Harlem. But I spent 2 years on it. I started to run out of money and I said, I think I need to look for a job. And then I looked and I saw the position for the director of the arts for Mount Vernon City School District. So I applied for the position, and Judith Johnson was the interim acting superintendent at the time, and she hired me. But at that time, there was no plan to start a performing arts school. It's only once I was in the district and I shared it with one of the board members, that I have this blueprint for a performing arts school. And he said to me, "You mean we can have our own fame school here in Mount Vernon?" I said, "I would love to, if you guys would allow me to do it." And then I spoke to our superintendent and he said, "Yeah, go ahead. Yes, create it." And I don't think he knew I was going to do what I was going to do. Then
That's amazing.
I wrote a grant for about $1.5 million, and that's what launched the program. So originally it was going to be in Harlem, and then I arrived in Mount Vernon, and then I learned the history of Mount Vernon with its rich history in the arts and culture, and it was like it was supposed to. There was no doubt about it. That's where I was supposed to be.
How long has the school been open? I'm sorry. How long has the school been open?
Our 6th year. We'll be 7 years in September.
Sorry, AJ.
Oh, no problem. Okay. So, no, I didn't even know it's been 7 years. I didn't know. You said 7 years in September?
7 years in September. 7 years in September.
That I didn't know either. That I didn't know either. So you started with the plays. I know, first off, thank you very much, because Mount Vernon, I'm based in Mount Vernon, but Mount Vernon has not always supported Black Westchester as in advertising. One of the first entities that supported outside of the Mount Vernon Public Library was the Performing Arts Department in the Mount Vernon City Schools.
Really?
I think the Seussical musical and some other musical, those were the first real support we got advertising from Mount Vernon. The city of Yonkers loves us. Like everybody out Yonkers, fire department, police department, everybody, and several other, but we don't really get that from where I'm from. You don't get appreciated where you're from. But y'all were one of the first. And then Holly was working there. Holly Ayers. I had to fill out a gang of paperwork and all this to get to the system. And it was the first time I had to fill out papers and all this other stuff and all this stuff. Yeah. I just basically sent the invoices. People sent me money. I hadn't had to do that before. But I definitely, y'all appreciated what Black Westchester was early on. And I just want to say thank you, because a lot of people, now we're going on 7 years for the website and 7 years on the radio show and 4 years for the newspaper. And now that we're getting awards and proclamations and all this other stuff, a lot of people are appreciating us now, but everyone didn't appreciate it in the beginning. And the Performing Arts Department was one of the few that in Mount Vernon that actually, saw the power of advertising with us. And I appreciate that. Holly's listening. She said, "Hi, AJ." Hey, Holly, how you doing?
Cool.
Yeah, so I definitely appreciate what y'all are doing. And anything Black Westchester can do to support, help get the word out. I can't wait to go to another play. I'm so mad that when I finally decided to start going, then we got COVID. Like, I was like, I was going to catch every play from that point. Like,
what's gonna be the next play?
Well, I'm hoping to do. We were set to do Lion King, so we have to revisit Lion King because we already paid for it. So we have to do Lion King again. That was the community loved it. And then we may do Once on This Island. It's Caribbean flavor play. It's wonderful. It was on Broadway. And then what I've been doing every year is doing a production of a play by August Wilson. And that's the key piece that connected us to Denzel as well. Denzel bought the rights to all of August Wilson's plays. And so he was amazed that a high school had produced Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. So no other high school has tackled Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. But we produced it with our 10th and 11th graders. And they were just like the 6th and 7th graders with Charlie Brown. They were very serious. They were very hardworking. They were very committed. And then Felicia Rashad even came over and did a master class because she directed Ma Rainey's Black Bottom in California. And so it was almost around the same time. And then she told Denzel about our production of Ma Rainey's, and he was blown away by that. It was like high school kids doing Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. And so
I was blown away. Sorry to interrupt. I was blown away.
I appreciate it. They worked really hard. I love working with the kids when they work hard. And so I met August Wilson years and years ago, and I was always moved by him and his work. He's the only playwright, not just Black, but any playwright who's written 10 plays based on a decade in the history of African Americans. And so I made a commitment to myself that I would direct one of his plays every year. And so we did, we were working on 7 guitars. We did Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I'm not certain what we're going to do next year, but those will be the 3 productions. If we're back in the city.
You know, one of the other things that's important about what you do, our children learn differently. Sometimes, let me put it, I just turned 55 last Friday. The play Hamilton, when they allowed that to be seen on Disney, 4th of July, it got me interested in that whole era that I had no interest in as an adult. You know, the Federalist Papers and all of that stuff. Man, you know how much research I've done because of that? Like, without that, I wasn't interested in that stuff in school. Right. And it got me interested in all of that as an adult. You know what I'm saying? And I was like researching and who his wife was and her sisters. And I mean, I would Google so much stuff. That's sometimes how we learn. You know what I'm saying? That teaches, that's, you know, through the arts is sometimes how we learn. And that's what's important about what you're doing.
And I'm gonna be honest too, when I was a principal in New York City, Lin-Manuel, the playwright and also the star of Hamilton, came to our school. And he came to our school and he was carrying this big, thick book about Alexander Hamilton. And I just thought, who would write a musical about Alexander Hamilton? I thought, who cares? Who cares? But then what he did with it, with the rap and the hip hop and the dancing and using actors of colors to play the characters, that's why it was such a hit on Broadway. But I didn't see that. He saw it. I thought he's reading about Alexander Hamilton, and he talked to our senior actors about Hamilton and his desire to write this play. That was a really cool moment, and I'll never forget it. Now that you put it in, you know, perspective, that everybody then wanted to go and learn about that period in history, right?
Right. And to see a Black George Washington and a Black Thomas Jefferson, and like that, I mean, that was, you know, I was so amped when I saw it. I mean, I've watched it like about 8 or 9 times like at this point. But it made me go back. It made me interested in something I wasn't even interested in school. Like,
so then just imagine, AJ, you in the theater. You watched it, you saw it on the big screen, your TV. But imagine you're in a live theater and you're having that experience.
Right. And I'm mad that I never got to see it in the theater. I'm like,
you will. It'll be back. It'll be one of the shows that comes back. It was that popular.
Yeah. But that's the importance of what you're doing and engaging our youth like that, you know. And there's so much you learn in those processes. Like I said, it made me interested in a whole era that I didn't care about when I was in school. Like I said, I didn't really care. I didn't know what the Federalist Papers was. I didn't know there's a lot of that stuff I actually learned because of that play. And, you know, being a hip hop lover, the fact that it was in rap, that just did it for me. Like, you know, so we do learn through stuff like that. I've learned a lot from, I always said I learned more Black history from KRS and Chuck D than I did in school.
Wow.
I mean, for real. I mean, I learned a whole lot more from them than I did in anything I learned in school, other than Martin Luther King had a dream and Harry Tubman freed some slaves. Like, you know, that's like, you know, there's a lot more to our history than that, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is there anything I have not asked you that you want people to know about, either what you're doing with the school, future plans, or whatever?
I created a Saturday Arts Academy for the young children in Mount Vernon. So this is for kids who are in the kindergarten all the way up to the 6th grade. And so the program before the COVID, but now we do it online. But the young children are able to come in and study ballet. They're able to study the violin, piano, the visual arts, theater. We were doing tap dance. And we were able to offer it to the community free of charge. So normally if they were in, for example, Harlem, and they went to the Harlem School of the Arts, the parents would pay about $750 or try to get a scholarship to have their kids enroll. But what I decided to do was create this Saturday program so we can start training the young children, really so they can audition and come to my school, but so they would be prepared for it. Because we're not able to offer all of this in the K-8 schools in our district because they're mostly focused on reading and math and STEM, which I'm not negating. I'm just simply saying there's a place for the arts. But because I couldn't fit that into the schools, I decided to create a program on Saturday that feeds that in our young kids in Mount Vernon. You should see the children. You should see the little kids coming on a Saturday when we were in the building. The little girls with their little ballet bag, their little dance bags, and they're like 5 years old. And I remember saying to them, I said, so why are you here? And the little girl said, because I'm a ballerina. I've always wanted to dance. And then they go into the bathroom, they come out and they change into the little leotards and it's the most beautiful, heart-touching thing. And so or seeing them hold a violin and trying to learn how to play a violin, they will have that forever. And each year they'll be able to grow and grow and grow and be phenomenal. That's what I'm proud of as well, our Saturday Arts Academy.
That's very powerful. I had a pastor once who said, any church that doesn't have programs for the youth, you're looking at a dead church. Because eventually people are going to get old and there's no youth to come up. If you want to revive our economy, you start with the youth. And you're teaching them, and just like we always think about sports as far as teaching them certain things, about teams, certain things. We talk about sports, but you're learning skills and you're learning responsibility and you're learning a lot of things. You're learning confidence. You're learning these kids. You're taking the kids and doing that with them early. You know what I mean? So they feel comfortable in their skin, when they get older and to do these things and to nurture their gift that they were born with and that's amazing.
Thank you.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Lorraine, any questions?
No, do you have like an ultimate goal?
Well, we're working on becoming a premier school in Mount Vernon. So we're working on being recognized by the United States Department of Education as a blue ribbon school. So a blue ribbon school is a handful of schools throughout the country who are exemplary. And because we have our test scores are decent, our attendance rates are wonderful, our parental participation is wonderful. We have great parents. Let me throw that out because I know some of the parents are on here watching. But I couldn't do what I do without the support of the parents. When I came to Mount Vernon, I'm not from Mount Vernon. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. And then I came via New York City. But when I came to Mount Vernon, nobody knew me. But they were willing to take their children. It was the first group with 60 kids, was willing to take their children who they knew were artistic and creative and allow them to audition for the school. The very first year, I accepted every kid who auditioned. I accepted every last kid. And I'm going to tell you something. Those kids turned out to be some of the most talented kids that I've ever seen.
Wow.
I accepted every kid who auditioned. And I remember one little boy who could sing, but he was so timid. And he came, and he hates when I tell this story, but he came over to me and he said, can I just sing to you? He didn't want to sing to everyone else. And I said, okay, Jamal, you can sing to me. But if you saw Jamal today, he's an 11th grader, and his ability to sing. We had a little girl who loved dancing, but all she saw was YouTube. She was on YouTube, Kendall McDowell. Kendall, I'm going to tell you right now, she's a phenomenal dancer. She's been to the Debbie Allen Academy in California.
Wow.
She's at Dance in Harlem. Now she's at Harlem School of the Arts. And every time she dances, I think I remember when she was in the 6th grade, and now she's in the 11th grade. I have another student who has a voice who one day will be on Broadway. There's no doubt about it. I mean, she's had all the leads in all the plays. She was Celie in The Color Purple. She was Dorothy in The Wiz. This is Mount Vernon. She was Dorothy in The Wiz. She was Gertrude in Seussical. She was Sally in You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. This child won the gold medal in the NAACP AXL competition as a vocal participant. Phenomenal, show-stopping kid. I have Spencer Augustine, who can tap. He'll summon up like Gregory Hines or the Nicholas brothers. He'll summon up Savion or Omar Edwards, all of these phenomenal tap dancers. We have string students who are the only children of color in an all-white orchestra, and they're hanging in there with all of the kids. We have kids who are at Juilliard in the math program and the pre-college program. One of our students won first place in the national vocal competition across the country. He won first place. Those are my students. Wow. Those are my students.
Wow.
One of the mothers, Alicia McDowell, she said, my daughter was invited to spend the summer in LA with the Debbie Allen Academy. She wrote that comment earlier. I never got a chance to get to it, but yeah, she's listening now.
About. Her daughter, oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
the kids should do a documentary about the school. About the students in the students in the school. Yeah, oh nice.
Yeah, we're working on it. I'm very proud of it. I hope Mount Vernon is. I know that we're proud.
I'm proud, and I'm not from Mount Vernon, but I'm your neighbor. I'm real proud. I'm excited.
So let me ask you two things, 2 questions. So for the school itself, there's an audition process. How does that work?
The kids audition. Now we have to do it on Zoom. So we've been running this commercial. That's the ad we placed in the Westchester. So the kids, they go on our website and they fill out a form that says they're interested in auditioning. And then one of my administrative assistants sets up an appointment. And then the art teachers are there in Zoom. They come in, they perform their audition. The teachers make a decision based on what they saw. So what we're looking for is the potential for talent. Some of the kids are going to be extremely talented. Some of the kids are going to have that potential for talent. So the teachers are looking at, can I grow that talent? We're going to take the phenomenal kids, of course. But the other kids are, can we grow their talent? And that's what we do. So after the audition, the parents interview, the kids write an essay, they submit letters of recommendation, and they submit their report card. Because once they get into the school, we kind of amp up the academics because they have to work really hard, to get the proper grades.
Now, and then the Saturday Academy, how does that work? That's can anybody bring their kids there? Does it have to be, you have to be within the city limits of Mount Vernon? How does that work?
You have to be in Mount Vernon, but not necessarily in Mount Vernon City School District. So your kids could be in private school, they can be in Catholic school, they can be in any school, but they have to be a resident of Mount Vernon.
Right. So they just
register, that's it.
Oh, okay.
No audition for that. For that, they just come, they register, they become a part of the program.
Yeah, I have to. So, I'm always in keeping it real. So I used to play ball. I was a decent player. And my mom moved out. My mother and father moved me out to Long Island when I was 7. And I came back at 14. So junior high school out there, junior high school, I think in 8th grade. So I made the team, not because I was the most talented, but because the coach saw that I had potential. So I can relate to what you're saying, because I was good. I was okay. But there was some superstars, but he saw that I had the potential and the drive, and that's why I made the team. Because some people try to figure out, how did I make the team? So yeah, that's how I made the team. Yeah. So I can definitely relate to that whole.
I learned that from Peggy Cooper Cafritz. Yeah. She's no longer with us, but she was the founder of the Duke Ellington School of the Arts. And I wrote my dissertation on the Duke Ellington School of the Arts. And I learned a lot from Peggy. And one of the things she said to me, that she always looked for the potential of talent. Some of the kids came in and they would be phenomenal, but there were other kids who had that potential, hadn't had the exposure, and could her staff bring them up, right? They had to have some talent, but could we bring them up to where we wanted them to be? And I learned a lot of lessons from her.
So is social media for people that want to know, to follow what the school is doing, maybe to find out when the plays are coming out and stuff. What
We have
is
a
there
page
social
on
media?
Facebook. We have a page on Facebook, Denzel Washington School of the Arts. So all they have to
Okay.
do is like it, and we have videos there from our performances. We have the events when they're coming up, that sort of thing. So that's how they can keep up with us. If they don't want to like it, they could just follow the page. And
I'm sorry.
And I have to apologize to you. You asked me, can I play a video? You saw I barely got my video played today because of the Wi-Fi. I was like,
that was an audition video.
I got your video on. So
For the information on the Saturday program.
so
Wait, AJ, hold on a second. For information on the Saturday program, they go to the website as well.
They can go to the website, or they can email Holly Ayers. That's Ayers, AYERS, at Mount Vernon City School District.com.
Thank
or
you.
org.
Okay.
I want to give you a chance. Last words, anything I just asked you. But before I do that, I'm very critical of leadership, especially here in Mount Vernon. I have been critical of Dr. Hamilton at times, but I have to compliment him that he had the vision to allow you to do this. Even if he didn't know what it was you were doing, he had to see that it was something, like, because I can see some schools like, oh, we don't need that, and worried about grades and passing tests and stuff like that. So he had the foresight to allow you to do it. And let you have, and for that, I give him much respect.
I do too, AJ, because that's what I always say. I say, had it not been Dr. Hamilton, who I respect, and I know people have their feelings this way or that way, but I've always respected him because he's allowed me to be me and to do what it is I do and to support it. To ensure that we had that 1,600 seat auditorium fully renovated. Fully renovated. When I said I would like to put in a brand new dance studio, he said, go ahead. I said, could I squeeze in a little experimental theater? He said, go ahead. When I talked about renaming the auditorium from Woods Auditorium to the Felicia Rashad Auditorium, he was like, he's always supported any idea, initiative I had for our school. So that's what I know. And that's who I deal with.
Right. And I just want to I want to publicly give him my shout because, I am critical of our leaders. And I feel like being, the Black media in the area, I have to hold our Black leaders to a higher standard, of excellence. So it's usually all out of love. But, I want to also give credit where credit is due, because I know in other school districts, this might not have been possible because the head person couldn't see the vision of it and see the benefit of it. So this only happens because he either believed in you that you knew what you were doing, or he had to have some sort of vision.
That speaks volumes on Dr. Collins too. That he believed in her and he was willing to take a risk. Some people like to stick to status quo; they don't like change. And
he's an arts person too, so he's a singer. So
yeah.
So he has a special place in his heart for the arts. And he was the one, AJ, that recommended that we place an ad in Black Westchester for our upcoming auditions. That was Dr. Hamilton.
Well, thank you, Dr.
You better say nothing else, AJ.
So thank you, Dr. Hamilton, because we met thanks to Brenda Crump. What I realized, we got a new police commissioner. Eventually, I had a conversation with him, let him know who I am, find out who he is. If you hear anything, you call me directly, and if I hear anything, I call you directly. And I established that. For some reason, I'd worked with him on the bonds and, getting the word out. But me and him had never had that conversation. And Brenda Crump made that happen this past summer. Mm-hmm. And he had me come through and we had a nice long conversation, very forthright, we, what I'm saying? And he expressed whatever concerns and stuff. And I appreciate him, for walking, for extending that, because he didn't have to. You know what I mean? Like, we are the Black media in the area, but you can get the word out on News 12 and LoHud. You don't really have, what I'm saying, if you don't really appreciate what we do. But he showed me that he did appreciate it. And I thank Brenda L. Crump for setting that up,
I
because
have
I guess she had
much respect for Miss Crump. When I first came to
right.
the district, she introduced herself, and I'm gonna be honest with you. She came to every event that I was a part of, whether it was a show or just representing the district. She was always there, and she would always come up to me and say kind words afterwards. And she was the one that introduced me to you via our first interview when we were doing the Lion King. That's Miss Crump. I have Mrs. Crump. I have much respect for her.
So she's listening because I just got a text message from her. I
Oh,
must have forgot her. I must have forgot her L. I must have forgot her L. So, you know, Brenda L. Crump, right? So
much
Brenda
respect.
L. Crump. Yeah. But yeah, she made that happen, and she had his ear, and she heard my concerns and heard his concerns, and realized that we needed to just sit down and have a conversation, you know, and we did, and he was open to it, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate finding out that he was suggested that you advertise. That's great to know. So, you know,
And
because
paid
that tells me because some people have lip service when they're there, but when they follow it up with action, that's following it up with action, and you know that shows me you are what you say you are,
right,
and I can't do nothing but respect that.
right.
So there's a lot of your, I guess, teachers and stuff. They've all there's too many comments to mention,
You
but
got a fan
a lot of
club.
people giving you a lot of accolades and
Really, I can't
applause,
see it.
and I again, yeah, again, I wanted to do this again, you know, like I said, and I keep saying this. Once we get close to a primary, there's so many candidates running in the elections throughout Westchester, so the show becomes nothing but candidate interviews. And Lorraine and I were sitting there, so we removed the candidate interviews, most of them to Tuesday. We have a Super Tuesday episode. And so we can do that. And I can get back to doing this and putting the people before the politics, as the name attests. And this being Black History Month, again, we celebrate the achievements of people after they're gone. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to celebrate your achievements, what you're doing and what you're going to do now. And give you, as my mother would say, give you your flowers while you're alive. So
I appreciate that.
I hope I've done a little bit of that, and I hope that some people that didn't know about the school learned a little bit about it. And you know, it's an open door when you need to discuss some stuff. You know, you got my number. You just call me, and we'll get you on right away.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you for everything that you're doing. Any last words, Lorraine?
No, I just one quick question. Do you still
Okay.
act sometimes?
If I can, I direct professionally. I haven't done any acting,
Oh, okay. All right.
but if something came along, I would do it.
Okay.
Would you ever act in would you play a role in any of the plays at the school?
No, because I don't want to take the spotlight away from the kids. You know, there's some adults in schools who get up on the stage with the kids, but for me, even though there have been wonderful roles like Mama and the Raisin in the Sun when we did that, or
Right.
Sophia in Color Purple, but I would
Right.
never, ever, ever, ever do that because my kids are capable, and I'd rather put the shine on them. I've already had my shine. I did that when I was in school and in college, so and professionally, but it's their time now. I don't want to upstage them.
I don't know the young lady's name, but she played one of the main roles of Ma Rainey, dark-skinned girl. She was very good.
Phenomenal. She's phenomenal.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan, and I hope I hope to follow her career. She's definitely going to be doing something. She's definitely.
She reminds you of Viola Davis, doesn't she? She reminds you a little bit of Viola.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She's already
Absolutely.
doing something, AJ. She's already got people's attention.
No. I know, but I'm saying I look forward to following her career. I'm glad to see. It's great to see people on this level, and then when they blow up, you know what I'm saying? Be like, yeah, I seen her in high school. You know, that's great. You know, we get to see ball players in high school and see them in the pros. This is the equivalent of that to me, for me. Taryn, Taryn, Taryn Marissa Hill said, Dr. Collins is awesome. Jamal Ballard said, thank you, Dr. Collins. Appreciate you for everything that you do. Kenya Miller said, this is great. Crystal Harris Ballard said, thank you, Dr. Hamilton and the Board of Trustees for the continued support of our school DWSA. Andrea Thomas says, shout out to Dr. Hamilton for his support of our school. Alicia McDowell gave Holly's email address that you gave in the comment section.
Thank you, Ms. McDowell.
And Crystal said, our students rock. Andrea Thomas says, shout out to Camille. Shout out to Miriam.
That's Miriam.
Okay, who's Miriam?
Miriam, my future Broadway star, who was
that I was just talking about.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go. I'm a fan. I posted
about her on my Facebook page. Yes, Miriam.
Okay.
Yes.
She did her thing. I told her that when we were after the fact. I walked up to her when we was in the hallway, and I just shook her hand. I was like, "Yo, you did your thing." Yeah. Crystal says our PTA rocks. Shout out to our PTA. Holly said hello to me. Andrea Sutherland said, I'm so grateful our children have an opportunity. Thank you so much. Crystal said, yes, they do. They're dancing in the cafeteria. And it's an academic and artistic excellence. And those are just a few of the comments that came through. But I want to thank you for taking the time. I've done a lot of things. I always say this. I say this in the beginning. Made a lot of money, lost a lot of money. I'll make a lot of money again. But one of the things I'm learning is that I can never get time back. So I'm very appreciative of people's time. So I want to thank you for your time. You could be doing anything else. I greatly appreciate you. And we're here. Black Westerners is here for you anytime you need us.
Thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me on. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. Not a problem. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the next play.
Me too. Me too.
Even if y'all got to do it virtually and I got to watch it on something, I can't wait to see the next one. That might be an idea. It might be a new idea.
We got something coming out. We have something.
Okay.
I'll keep you posted.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You have a great day. Oh, wait. And happy Valentine's Day.
Same to you. Same to you, Lorraine.
I ain't doing a button-down shirt for you. Ex Lorraine, I usually wear a t-shirt and a baseball hat. Look, I got dressed up for Valentine's Day. Yeah. So,
I appreciate it.
No problem. All right, everybody. We thank everybody for tuning in. This is once again the Black Westchester presents the People Before Politics radio show. You could be doing anything else, but you decided to ride with us, and we greatly appreciate it. Until next week, peace. We out.
Bye-bye.